So starter ships and Star Citizen. It's a tough choice when you're first getting into the game. Which ships are best? Which is the best for me? What do they all do? Well, hopefully I'll be able to answer a few of those questions today. Now the ships which I've classed as cheap are the Aurora, the C8X Pisces and the Cutter. Medium is the 100i and the Avenger Titan, and expensive is the Nomad and the Syulen. I was going to include the two fighter ships, the Mustang Alpha and the Arrow, but they don't really do anything other than bounties and mercenary kind of contracts, so you can't really class it as a starter ship as such. Now each segment of ship will include what the ship is and what it does. It will also include the price of the ship in-game and for in real life money. In addition, I'll also say how much cargo it can hold. I will also do a small tour of the ship, a quick overview of it, the weapons and capabilities of it, and how long its quantum drive will last for. So let's move on swiftly. The Aurora MR is a light fighter and is the cheapest starter ship in Star Citizen. It's a great way to start the game without breaking your bank, so a great choice if you just want to try out the game. The ship's quantum drive, even though small, allows you to traverse most of the verse with only having to refuel maybe one time, depending on where you're heading. So overall it's not too bad. Now the price of this ship in-game is 184,900 AUEC, and you can buy it from a location called Lawville, but for in real life money, if you're buying it from the Star Citizen website, it is £43.20, $54 or 50.22 euros. So if you couldn't tell, this is already quite an expensive starting price for the game. So let's just have a look at the interior and exterior on the ground. Getting out the seat here, you can see there's a bed just here, which is actually, you can walk around in it, lay down and log out in Star Citizen. There's a door to the right and to the left side of the ship. You open it up just like so. Closing it also on the exterior. As you can see, it's quite a nice small little ship. Not the biggest of ships, but it's a nice size still. The free SCU of cargo space is held under the ship, which I will just show you now. It's under this little bit here and is held just under there, so not the most accessible, but it's still there just in case you need to use it. This can be used for carrying one SCU crates over if you needed to. The two weapons are held at the front just here. For weapons, the Aurora gets two sized 1 weapons. It also has a gimbal mount which assists you when you're trying to aim onto a target. Furthermore, it includes 2 sized 1 missiles. Additionally, it comes with 1 sized 1 shield for defense, which isn't the best honestly. But overall not too bad. You can easily destroy smaller ships with this, against NPCs that is, but if you're going to fight real players you may need one of the next ones. The Aurora is quite manoeuvrable, but when you're in a higher speed and atmosphere and you try to turn, you can really tell the ship is trying to fight you the other way. But overall it's good at manoeuvring, so you can rely on that. The C8X Pisces is an expedition ship for a little bit more money than the Aurora. It does have an increased amount of quantum fuel than the Aurora, so you can make it to most places without having to refuel once, with a couple of exceptions. Now the price of this ship in game is 406,000 AUEC and is located at Area 18. For in real life money, this ship is £57.60, $72 or 66.96 euros. Now if we take a quick look at the cutter's interior and exterior, and if we get out the seat. So first of all, you have some components, you have 2 chairs in case you wanted to bring a couple of buddies along. You do have 4 SU of cargo space, 2 just held here and then 2 to the left of you here. It's actually quite a nice open area and makes this ship seem like more of a ship than the Aurora, just because of the fact you have more walking space and it feels like a proper interior. You can access all your inventory from in here and everything, it feels quite nice. Going towards the rear we have more components and exiting the ship just like so. As you can see, it's an increase in size overall, and you have 2 of your weapons, 1 on this side and 1 on the other side, identical, and then 2 of your missiles, 1 here and 1 on the other side. And then you have your 2 main weapons at the front just here. 4 weapons. This ship gets 4 sized 1s, and 2 of these are on a gimbal mount, 2 of them aren't, which means 2 of them you have to manually adjust where you're aiming, so no assistance in aiming. It also has 2 sized 1 missiles, which aren't bad, the same as the Aurora, and for defense it has 1 sized 1 shield, which is it's not too good to be honest. It is an upgrade from the Aurora in combat abilities though, and it does make it easier for bounties, but it does not have a bed, so bear that in mind. The turning speeds are nearly the same as the Aurora, so if you want a combat ship, maybe this one's for the better. The Cutter is a fan favourite of many, and it's a light freight ship for the same price as the C8X Pisces. It has a massively increased amount of quantum fuel to the other 2 ships and can get you to multiple locations without having to refuel once. The price of a ship in-game is 675,000 AUBC and it can be brought from Lorville. And for in real life money it is £57.60, $72 or 66.96 euros. Now a little bit of a longer tour of a cutter as it's a bigger ship, but in the cockpit, which is located up the front to the left of us already, we have access to a weapon rack. We have one large and one small and one extra small weapon, so pistol and an assault rifle maybe. Components to your right, and then we go into the main habitation deck. We have access to some storage to the left which you can use to put items in. To the right of that we have access to a bed with a miniature light just here. This can be used for logging on and off. We have access to a bathroom, so shower and toilet combined. And that's it for the habitation. It's actually a very nice room, and this is definitely starting to feel like more of a ship as we go deeper and deeper in. Going towards the back, we actually have room for an actual small ground vehicle here if we really wanted to. We have access to 4 SCU, 2 here and then 2 on top of that, and then more components to the left. If we exit the ship just here, as you can see we have 2 little looking points here too to see outside. So you exit the ship just here. Going around here we have access to 2 VTOL thrusters, so these can go up and down depending on what way you're trying to go, so they can go like that. Going around the front and we have access to our 2 main weapons which are on a gimbal mount just here. Only 2 for this though. For weapons, this ship gets 2 size 1 weapons on a gimbal mount, so it automatically aims for you a little bit, and it also gets 4 size 2 missiles, so a decrease in main weapon firepower to the other 2 but more missiles. For defense, it gets 1 size 1 shield, which is also not very good for the size of this ship. The turning combat maneuverability is a lot less than the other 2 ships, so you may struggle more to use this for combat, and just generally it has less firepower. So if you want to use it for exploration, much better, but for combat, not really. Now we move on to the medium price ships, and we start off with the 100i. By the way guys, I would much appreciate it if you could like and subscribe to the video, thank you. The 100i is a touring / luxury ship, and it has enough quantum fuel to get you to most places without refueling. Not as much as a cutter though, definitely a decrease there. The price of this ship is 654,000 AUBC and it can be brought from Area 18 or Lorville, take your pick. And for in real life money it'll be £62.40, $78 or 72.54 euros. Now just doing a quick ship tour, and you have your 2 weapons which are held just down here on either side of the ship, and then towards the front your missiles actually drop down on the nose of the ship one at a time. You can also access your quantum drive here. You enter the ship through a slightly hidden entrance on the left side, clicking this button here. Then walking up into the ship. Now as you can tell it's a little bit of a smaller interior, but it's actually one of my favourites. Straight in front of us here we have a bed. It's very nice and it's the bare necessity. It could do with a duvet or something, but that's as it is. Your actual cargo, which is 2, is held just to the right here. It's slightly hidden and you could sit in there in case you need to. There you go, 2 just in there. Bit hard to access though. And then of course you've got your seat at the front. You can also see that we have a lovely viewing area in here and we can see all around us really. For weapons, and this ship has 2 size 2 weapons, which is actually an increase because they're a bigger size, and it also has 2 size 2 missiles, which are also an upper size compared to the other 3 I just done. So you actually do have an increase in firepower compared to the other ships, because they're bigger weapons of course. And for defense, this ship has 1 size 1 shield, which is a bit disappointing, but it's still a shield. This ship also turns really well and acceleration feels great in it. So I would actually call this quite a good fighter ship if you wanted to use it for that. The Avenger Titan is a light freight ship and is another favourite for many. You know you're getting into real business when you use this ship. The quantum drive is a little disappointing and you'll most likely have to refuel quite often if you do a lot of travelling, but it's not bad. Now in game, this ship is 785,600 AUEC at Lorville, and you can rent it at most rental kiosks, which is actually quite a nice feature if you're in the game already. Now the price of this ship is starting to get to a little bit bigger digits, but still not too bad. It's £72, $90 or 83.70 euros. Now the tour of the Avenger Titan, and at the front here we have our sized 3 main weapon, and then we also have a couple of weapons on the side, and our missiles are on the wings. Going towards the back of the ship to enter it, you can see how massive it is just by walking around it, but we have our ramp access here, and you could technically fit a vehicle in this and hold it up here if it can fit through the door, that is. Maybe a hover quad or something. Now you can store 8 SCU of cargo just where I'm standing now, which is quite nice and a decent amount. Closing the ramp up just behind us, you can tell the ship's bigger. You step up onto a platform and this is like your habitation. Down here you have a bed. Now it is quite old, so there's not much in here, and that's all you really get in this room. But going towards the front of the ship again, well, yeah, sitting down here, that's kind of it. There's not much in this ship, it feels very nice to be in. As you can see though, you can see quite clearly around you, so it's not too bad in that manner. Now for weapons, and it has one size 3 weapon, which is a ballistic weapon starting off, which is very nice, and it has 2 size 2 weapons. It also comes with 4 size 2 missiles, which are quite good, and for defense it has 2 size 1 shields, which they're alright. It's a little slower when it comes to accelerating and turning, but it makes up for that with better weapon loadouts, and the ship definitely feels like a more fighter ship compared to the rest. Now we're going to have a look at the expensive ships, or what I would class as expensive. The Nomad is my personal favourite ship of them all, and is another light freight ship. It has quite a substantial 24 SCU of cargo space, which is held on the back externally. You can even put quite a sizable ground vehicle on there, for example a mining vehicle, which is another game loop. And that's no issues either, it fits quite nicely. This ship physically hovers, and it actually has a tractor beam on the rear which can be used to onload and offload cargo or ground vehicles onto the ship. If you wanted to buy this ship in game, it would be 952,800 AUEC, this is at Lawville, and if you wanted to use in real life money, it would be £91.20, $114, or £106, €2. You get a decent amount of quantum fuel, not the most, but you maybe only have to refuel every once in a while. Taking a quick look at this ship, and as you can see before we go in, it is physically hovering, which is pretty nice. It is meant to be like that, doesn't actually touch the floor. And just here we have our cargo ramp. Using this, it is external, and you open it up just like so. You can put a ground vehicle on this, it's awfully nice. And then your tractor beam's just there to help you unload and offload cargo. Closing it again just there, and we make our way around to the front. As you can see, the ship is a sizable amount here, and we have our missiles here. 1 main weapon there, and then there is 2 on top. Climbing up into the ladder. And as you can see, close up behind us, and we have 2 weapons just here. It's a bit odd, but we have 1 main weapon, 2 main weapons. No smaller weapons, so yeah, you can use that as you like. Going around here to the right, we have access to the cargo bay, which we can open and close from here, just in case you need to. Components just here, a toilet just here to the right side, and then to the left we have some personal storage which you could use for whatever you want really. Moving through into the habitation, and as you can see it's quite a nice habitation. You have access to a bed just here, some books and all that, light. And then on the right side we have cooking and seat. Protein just in case you really wanted to look at it, and then we have components up the top. Going into the very front of a ship here, we have a pilot's seat. Sitting down here, as you can see, it is quite nice for visuals of the ship. Looking around there, you can see a fair amount around you and below you as well, which is quite another nice thing. To access the tractor beam, you will locate yourself to the left. If you just try to locate yourself to the enter remote turret, it is labelled TRCB, which is tractor beam. Clicking on this, you left click, it activates it, and then you can hold Alt and then scroll wheel and it will pull or push things away from you. This can lock onto the grid down here, and it's awfully quite nice. For weapons, this ship has 3 size 2 weapons, but they do run out of ammo quite quickly because you only have 1 power generator, and you also get 8 size 2 missiles, which are actually quite nice and quite a few. And for defense it has 3 size 1 shield, so quite a few compared to the other starter ships. The turning of this ship is alright, it's not the best but it's still alright, and the acceleration is great. You can definitely feel that it's got an increased amount of acceleration compared to some other ships. And it also feels like it has a higher top speed than others too, so that's another thing to keep in mind. The Syulen is an alien ship which has a unique design and an elevator which takes you throughout the ship. It has the biggest quantum drive of them all, meaning you can go loads of places without refueling, and it also has 6 SU of cargo space held on the exterior. Now even though you cannot buy this ship in game currently, which I'll put in the description when you can how much it is, you can buy it for in real life money as a starter pack, and it is £81.60, $102 or €94.86. Now starting off with a ship tour of the Nomad, and as you can see it's quite a towering ship. This is where your cargo is stored, 2 on every single one of them, 3 of them, and then your airlock or your door is located just outside here. bringing this one down and walking through. Closing it to the left, and then in this small little room we have kind of our engineering room. We have components to the right and to the left of us. And then just here we have access to a weapon rack. Enough for 2 big weapons, 4 small weapons, and this is some EVA locker or something that will be added later into the game. Now to get through the ship we actually have an elevator, which is quite a nice feature, with 3 floors available to go to. Going up towards habitation though, and we step through here, and to the left of us straight away is access to a shower and toilet combined. As you can see. To the right of this we have access to a bed, and then to the right again we have access to a chair which pops up. Going out of this room, as you can see out all onto the floor while we're going throughout the elevator, but moving towards a pilot's seat. You can see it's quite a small pilot's room, with components to the right and to the left of us. And then we sit down just here. This will swing us towards the top of the ship in a quite unusual fashion. As you can see, we are now facing away from the floor instead of the normal horizontal. But looking around here, we can have a decent view all around us and below us. To fly off, you just do it like normal with just pressing W to go forwards normally. Press N, and then your camera changes and it goes into this kind of flight ready mode. This ship has 3 sized 3 weapons and 12 sized 2 missiles. And for shields though, it unfortunately only has 2 sized ones, or else it would be a great combat ship, but it can manoeuvre quite well. Top speed not so good, but that's not too big of a downside seeing as it has sized 3 weapons, so the strongest of every ship here really for combat. But I honestly wouldn't really recommend this ship for new players, as it's quite hard to manoeuvre and take off and control, and it also doesn't have gimbal mounts of the weapons. That's it, we are done. And I would say the ship which gives you your best bang for your buck has got to be the Cutter starter ship, I would say. It's not too expensive and gives you access to most gameplay loops, has a decent sized interior for its size, and it even has a room for a hover vehicle in the back if you wanted. You can get into small cargo hauling, deliveries, bounties, mercenaries and much more. It also has a sizable quantum drive which you will definitely want in the game for when you're playing. I'm sorry to any of my other ship lovers, but that's what I think. If you have differing opinions, be sure to let me know down in the comments, but I do have to say that's me, Duffer, out, and I hope you enjoyed.